All right, everyone, what's up? We're back with episode 3 of If It's Not Black and White with Justin and Jacoby. And we do appreciate everyone's continued support, questions, and overall attentiveness towards our podcast. And we've been gone for a couple weeks, but it feels like forever, right?
Yeah, it honestly does. And we're going to have times like this just because our schedules are so screwed up and you're just now back in school and going to Lawrence like every day or every other day or however that works out. And then my weird schedule. So, yeah, we're going to miss a week or two here and there. It's unfortunate, but
yeah, it is what it is. But overall, I'm glad we're back. I love it. I love that we're back and give the listeners a perspective that they may have not heard or they may have not actually paid attention to. So over the past couple of weeks, Justin, what have you been got going? What have you been going on?
like in my life?
Yes.
I mean, just
while we've
work.
been around.
Yeah, I mean, just work and stuff. I mean, we've had, on my off days, you've had your military stuff going on in Lawrence, and that's been, rough. So we tried scheduling a time here and there to record, but just, I don't know, it just wasn't working out. We were trying to fit an hour in, like, oh, let's try at 7:00 this night, and during my lunchtime or during, his off out, it just wasn't going to work out. So, I mean, I've been busy, you've been busy. It's been rough, but I think that we've laid a solid foundation on what we're going to be talking about and us attacking the social issues, but also bringing our personality into it as a whole. This isn't we're not going to be just talking about social issues. It's just kind of, that's what the world is really revolving around for now. So we're hitting it harder than we probably will in the future. Hopefully that we have to hit it in the future. Maybe we'll do sports here soon. I don't know. But for now, obviously, this is a big topic around the world, around the country. But yeah, that's really been...
Speaking of sports, I mean, they might cancel the playoffs.
No, I don't think they're going to cancel.
They're talking about it.
I don't think they're going to cancel.
I don't think they will either.
No,
but
I don't think that even the athletes would want that. I think they're okay with postponing some games like what they're doing now. I think that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I think it should happen. A lot of people probably don't think so, but yeah. It's just their views. But yeah.
Yeah, so overall for this episode, we're going to, of course, talk about the Jacob Blake situation that recently just was brought up this past week with the police, and then transition and talk about Montrezl. His name's spelled like that. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's like Montrez, though,
it's just Montrez. Montrezl Harrell calling Luka Doncic, and I quote, a punk-ass white boy. And then finish up with a segment on the degradation of other cultures, such as the Washington Redskins or the Savannah Savages in closer to St. Joe. And then pretty much we'll start with Jacob Blake right now.
Yeah, I can kind of start off here and go over some of the story. So Jacob Blake, obviously, he was a fella from the Wisconsin area. Over the last week, you guys have all seen videos and articles and stuff about him. He didn't comply with the police, which happens literally all the time with in so many different situations. But what was happening is he was walking to his vehicle in which his 3 kids, or he might have more than 3 kids, but I think he had 3 boys in the vehicle. And I think actually he got away from 3 police officers is what it kind of looked like in the video. It's hard finding exact information, exact video coverage. I mean, you can find some of the video, but it's so are these people recording on flip phones? Literally, some of this stuff is so hard. We're in 2020 right now, and we'll go into the body cams here later. But so Jacob Blake, he gets away from these police officers. I guess they've already tased him. Some say he had a knife. Some say he didn't have a knife. Like I said, I mean, there's photos out there where they're zoomed in and literally, I mean, the pixels are terrible. He could literally have anything. It might be keys. It literally might be anything. I don't know, but it might not even be anything at all, honestly. But anyway, so he starts to get in his vehicle and he's shot 7 times. I read an article that said 8, but I think it's 7. Everything has said 7 other than that article that I read. But shot 7 times. Good thing is that it didn't kill him. But I mean, he's paralyzed possibly for the rest of his life from the waist down. You know, it's such a rough situation. You don't, you know, you can't just always comply with officers when you've done nothing at all wrong. And that's what people, people are always like, well, you put yourself in that situation. Why don't you just listen to what they say? Like, no, literally, you can't just, we're just giving up all of our, rights and just doing exactly what they tell us to do when we've done nothing wrong. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong, but I'm saying, like, there are times where we have to stand up for ourselves. Everyone else is trying to stand up for themselves with the mask and everything and saying, I don't want them to tell me what to do. It's kind of like the same situation. It's, different situation, but it's similar in my opinion. Yeah, I think it is. And it happens all too often. Whether he's guilty of anything at all, he does not deserve to be shot 7 times. Like, people do not realize that. They're like, oh, he deserved that. Never did he deserve that.
It really pisses me off because it's like when people see that video, they're like, a lot of people, not people in general, but a lot of people, their first thought is to, how can I justify him being shot 7 times?
Yeah.
What did he do in his past that I can bring up now? Like, I know someone near and dear to my heart. Whenever I was a kid, he went to prison for a few years for distributing cocaine or marijuana. I don't even know what it was. I was so young. But regardless, if he committed a crime or if he was shot by police now, that would be something people would bring up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How can we justify him being, or we don't know the whole story? You don't have to know the whole story to watch. Like, you watch this man. So somebody was I was on Facebook. Somebody was trying to argue with me and say that, the 3 officers had him in a chokehold. Oh, okay. You have 3 trained policemen cannot detain one man. Not only can they not detain one man, you told me they had him in a chokehold. So you're saying these 3 men had this man in a chokehold, and somehow he fought his way out and then calmly walked to his car. That's not logically, that's not realistic. You're not just, I'm just going to stroll back to my car. The people who say he has a knife in his hand, he has a knife in his hand walking to it. That it doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. And then if he does have a knife in his hand, why would a cop go up and grab him by his shirt? That doesn't make sense either.
I honestly have no idea how or what people are trying to justify, like why they're I know why they're trying to justify, because they're probably racist. Man, it's, they try and bring up his past issues, his prior issues, things that happened in the past. Literally, first of all, we don't know at all if police even knew any of this. Like, you don't know that at all. Second, it literally does not matter. In this situation, it does not matter. You don't just kill somebody and say, oh, well, they had a bad past. Like what? No. Like, put him in jail or... I think so. What I've read in the story is that he was trying to break up a fight or something like that, is what it sounded like. Wasn't even involved in anything. He just wanted to break something up. Whether that's all true or not, I don't know. We'll probably learn more as time continues on, and here in the next few days, we'll probably learn a lot more. But listen, like, it is literally ridiculous that people try and justify that he deserved being shot and possibly killed. He's not. It looks like he's going to survive it, but usually in this situation would be killed. I don't understand how someone tries to justify this. I literally do not understand it. I don't. Like, I've gone over this. From the beginning of the video that I've seen, or there's been 2 different videos that I've seen. One that's shot extremely with terrible, I don't know, a 90s cell phone. And the other one is, I think, probably another phone, a more up-to-date phone. Still not great, but from where the video starts, it kind of just looks like he's, I don't know, like the police officers maybe have him. I don't know, like they have him on the back. I don't know what's going on, but he gets away, which literally he should not be able to get away from 3 police officers that are trained. This guy is not like Shaquille O'Neal. Like, he's bigger. I don't know his size or anything. I tried looking. I couldn't find size on him, but he's not huge. Maybe bigger, but not absolutely ridiculous to where 3 trained officers cannot detain the man. Like, it says that they tased him, which, okay, that should have happened. But how is a tased guy getting away from 3 trained officers? Or maybe not trained in the situation. Like, it should literally be impossible.
It's insane. It's actually insane. Like, someone said to me, what did she say? She said, I don't know. It's just all bring about justification, and I can't stand it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. DeMarcus Cousins. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, my point's like, we're talking about defunding the police and whatnot, which for sure, man. And part of that is, finding better places for funding to go with the police, like training. Like, how are we not able to train these officers in situations? I know you get in a situation like this, it's probably a situation you've never been in. So that's tough. Yeah, I know. But we should have some kind of training that can, almost replicate it. I know that you'll never be able to really replicate situations like this, but, there's got to be some kind of training that can help out these officers. And my biggest thing on this is they didn't have body cams. They had microphones, but they didn't have body cams. How are we still in this day of age and we don't have body cams on every police officer? Like, people will talk to me about funding and money. Well, this is a place where some of that money needs to go. Like, every police officer should have a body cam, and when they either flip on their lights or they leave their police car, like, the body cam should go live. Like, I don't understand how we are in 2020 and we still do not have every police officer with a body cam. This would look sorry to keep going, but I think that it solves some of these situations. I'm not saying that's going to solve racism, but I think it solves some of these situations to where, a police officer rethinks their process or rethinks their what they're going to do in that certain situation. Like, oh, I have a body cam. Maybe I shouldn't shoot this guy. Like, people think, oh, he's not going out there trying to shoot him. Literally, how do you know that? Like, how do you put 7 bullets in somebody and not, I don't know, think, well, maybe I'm going to shoot. To me, I would be thinking, well, I guess I'm going to shoot someone today if I'm, I don't just go and put 7 bullets into someone. Like, that is 7 bullets.
I think that LeBron brought up a great point. So cops that have such an authoritative power in society, and with their lack of accountability, it really makes it dangerous to the civilian population, because what LeBron said is, we have no idea what happened to this police officer prior to him leaving his house.
Right, yeah.
He could have gotten a huge argument with his wife. He could have had a huge argument with his child. Or she could have been beat by her husband or anything like that. You have no idea what these people are thinking whenever they leave their house. And that is extremely dangerous as well. And some people were talking about, oh, their average salary is $40,000, something like that. So obviously they're going to protect themselves because they have a family and everything. But that's not fair. Like, you are held to a higher standard than the civilian population. It is your job. It is literally your job. And I don't know. Yeah, Justin said training for sure. Education. When it comes to the defunding and funding, I want to make a clear stance of where I'm at with that. So I don't feel like something necessarily gets better by taking money away from it. Now, in this very weird situation, they were funded for body cams, but they had not distributed them yet.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and that's unexplainable, unacceptable. But bottom line is, there's so much funding in our country that's just not allocated to the right places. Like, police departments, you should not have people coming on the police force with no training and getting a weapon. And that happens. It happened to my friend, which is literally a damn near first-hand experience, second-hand experience. One of my best friends got hired by a police department in a small town, had no formal training, and got a gun and a badge. Do you see how dangerous that could be?
That's literally so crazy.
That
dude.
is extremely dangerous. And I'm just going to bring up this issue of government spending. I'm going to bring up one specific example. So I'm not going to talk about the failures in the military spending because obviously I'm part of the Marine Corps. So I'll talk about the Air Force for a second. In a 2-year time span, the government spent $500,000 on coffee mugs for the Air Force. Like that's not like a huge figure for what it could be distributed in a country, but it's telling of what they'll just spend money on anything.
Yeah.
$500,000 on coffee mugs. We have police forces with no formal training and no body cams.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how. I don't even know how that happens, man. That's just not, he's just bringing up one thing. And, we know that in this country, like, that's not a ton of money, but you start adding up a lot of things like that, you get to millions and millions of dollars that could literally be put to better use.
I read that the government owns like upwards to 77,000, 80,000 vacated buildings, and they spend over $2 billion a year with maintenance.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So I don't know, man. It's hopefully something to where all this is brought to light at some point in time. This keeps happening, so I don't know when it will all be better or solved, or at least some kind of resolution, but hopefully this kind of still keeps it going in the right, hopefully the right direction.
Well, where do you think we go from here, though? Like, in the sense of, like, obviously it's going to take generations, just like in the race issue, to see insurmountable change.
Yeah.
So what are the first steps, though, that you believe could make things better?
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, obviously, I'm not put in a high power position, and I don't know if I'd ever want to be put in a high power position. But it's really difficult, man. It's just teaching. Honestly, teaching. People need to listen, and then we need to have those voices be heard. Like, I am extremely proud that we have other people in this country, like the athletes or even just people on TV that are able to voice their thoughts and situations that they've been through. But like LeBron, when he voices his opinions, his views, or even I've said Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, any of those late night talk guys, like I like watching their shows. They're all really, really big on social injustice, obviously, and racism and everything like that. But I don't know. I just think that we need to put our selfishness aside at times and just listen to what others have experienced, what others have gone through. So what others have experienced and what others have gone through. And, it's difficult, man. I honestly think the body cams is a huge thing. I've been trying to push that for so long. I know I'm trying to push it onto a police force, but I think that just body cams is such a huge thing that every police officer should have. And I think that's a good starting point. But, if we had, I don't want to go too much into it, but better leadership in the country, not just by athletes or other talk show hosts or whoever's out there, we just need better leadership, I think, at times. I think that's a good starting point too. So it's tough, man. I don't ever want to run for a political office. I don't ever want to be in any of that stuff, but I leave that to hopefully at some point the better and smarter people in this world. So
I can't speak on leadership, but I can speak on accountability. I think accountability is a huge step in the right direction. The fact that I just watched a video of the police force over where, what's that kid's name that just killed those 2 people.
Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse, I think.
Kyle
right?
Rittenhouse, yeah.
Something
So
like
Kyle
that.
Rittenhouse, 17-year-old he drove like 20 miles to go to the protests in Wisconsin, and then he essentially, he shot someone, and then he tried to flee the area. People chased him down to try to either detain him or attack him. I don't know what they were trying to do, and then the video that you see him shooting 2 more people as they were approaching him. So, the video that comes from this, the police force's statement that comes from this, they blame people being out after curfew. So instead of condemning this kid who traveled with an AR-15 from his state to a different state to a protest, he had the intent to likely shoot somebody.
Right.
I don't think he necessarily knew that he could do it, but he ended up doing it. And the police force comes out and defends him by saying people shouldn't have been out after curfew, as if this was like the Green Arrow type vigilante or something.
Right.
That's actually, they're calling him a vigilante in the news. That you just see the difference in terminology as well when it's a white person and a black person. It is, and the accountability in this country is absolutely asinine. I think that if we see the guy who was just shot seven times, what was his name one more time?
It was Jacob Blake.
Jacob Blake. So if we see him get shot 7 times, if the police force comes out, condemns that shoot, like whether you believe he should have been shot or not, justified or not, the way the officer approached him, grabbed him, and shot him 7 times is no way that it's okay. There's no way you actually believe that is an okay way of operating the police force in our country. I don't believe you if you say that you do. Yeah. So the police force needs to come out, condemn that, and say, we are going to make these changes. I promise the public that we will take a step forward. That doesn't ever happen. Yeah. Ever happen. And it's like, if me in the military, if I was deployed to Iraq and we mimicked anything that the police does in our own country to potential terrorists, we would not only be fired, it's well beyond fired, we would be discharged from the military, we would lose a lot of pay, we would be publicly shamed, and we would likely be like blacklisted, and maybe go to prison. Probably, if it was like we just randomly killed somebody, yeah, of course we'd go to prison. But it's overall lack of accountability, and it just continues every single time one of these killings happen.
What do you think they could have done to better the situation, or how could they? I don't know. I don't want to keep going with training being the thing, but obviously that's a big thing. But do you think they could have? What do you think they could have done in that situation to make it better, or to at least not shoot him? Is there anything that your thoughts?
Man, it's hard to not just be like so upfront about it. It's like 3-on-1. How does it end up in you shooting them when he's not shooting at you? Yeah. Or even if he had a knife, he didn't come at you with the knife to attack you. If you have 3 of you, tackle this man to the ground.
No, dude, that
and put his hands behind his fucking back.
Dude, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, dude, I'm tackling this guy easily.
Yeah.
Like,
I know what this person said to me now. She said, have you ever fought a person with mental health issues or a person that has drugs or is under the influence? It's not that easy. Listen, if it was me and 2 of my friends, I promise you that we could beat up one guy.
Yeah.
Or not beat up, because I don't want the cops to beat him up. I'm just saying, she said fight, so that's why I put it in my head. Yeah. But me and 2 of my friends can detain one person.
Yeah.
I am very confident in that.
Yeah, man. Easily. I mean, easily. I don't even think it's even close, dude. And we're not, well, you're more trained, but like if I was in that situation, like I wouldn't be trained, but I'll play some high school football, baby. I'm ready to tackle somebody. I'm okay with it. No, but that's it's actually kind of crazy, dude. I don't know how we keep putting ourselves in this. Well, I don't know when we will stop putting ourselves in this situation. We need to just stop, man. Like, it's never going to end well. And like you've talked about the Kyle Rittenhouse kid, like I read that So, obviously, I mean, he's on the police's side here, which is, I mean, it's not really fine. It's ridiculous, but I guess that he has been looking into becoming a police officer. Yes, idolized police officers and wanted to become a police officer one day. Here's our issue, guys. Literally, not only is he not of age to carry a firearm, he is 17 years old. He was stopped by police earlier in the night when he had the firearm, and they asked him if he wanted like a bottle of water or something like that. They didn't ask him for his ID or anything to make sure that he was able to carry a firearm or ask him why or question it. They thought it was okay. A year too young to carry that firearm, a rifle at that. And like, he did not go to this place, not whether he thought he could pull, like you asked, whether he thought he could actually pull the trigger on someone. He's not going to this place for anything good to happen.
No.
Like, ever. Come on, man.
And you see afterwards? Dude, after he did the shooting, a bunch of cops show up to break off whatever. He walks down the street with his hands in the air, with the rifle across his chest, walking and basically trying to turn himself in. The cops go right past him. They go right past him and continue on to down the road.
Isn't that crazy?
I was like, and he's like literally trying to turn himself in. And then they put on the news that he was a fleeing suspect. No. He walked right fucking past you. He walked right past you.
I always like imagine if that was a black guy right there.
I know.
Imagine.
I know.
With a rifle on him. Like, what could have gone down? Like, seriously. Like, people don't realize that. They don't like switch that around and imagine. And I tell you right now, like, I've seen it so many times. If Jacob Blake was white, literally it's handled so much differently. It really is. People say, well, you know, you're dividing the country by talking about different races. It's literally right in front of you. I mean, it happens so often that the two races are handled way differently. Like, it's just sad. And listen, like, some people were brought up to be scared of black people. Like, that's unfortunate, and you need to get past that. Like, that's something you have to get past. Like he mentioned in prior episodes how black was always the bad color. Like, that's where we are in this, you know, country and in this world. Like, we need to get past that. That's why black people are scared for their lives. You know, that's why they don't really like police officers. Like, you don't even want police officers involved, really. Why would you? You know, if they're scared and will pull their gun on anything at all, like it's, you know, I don't know the situations too much because I'm not black. You know, I'm fortunate to have that white privilege, I guess. And that's true, man. That's literally so true, and people don't believe it. But
dude, people are gonna scoff at the fact that you just said that.
It's so true.
Oh my God, white. Look, I don't, like I said earlier. I think I said it in the first episode. I don't say white privilege because people could take it as me attacking them. But the word privilege is a real word, and it's not just something that has been made up. Like, it's okay to admit that you have privilege. Like, it's no different. A person that was born into a wealthy family has the privilege of being wealthy growing up over someone who was born in an impoverished family. That's a privilege.
Yep.
I have the privilege of being born into a family that was in the United States, vice a person who was born in a third world country.
Yep.
I have that privilege, and I'm okay with admitting it. You have the privilege of being born into the majority group in which the country that you live in. And that's okay, but you can see that. It's not an issue that you were born into a privilege. But it would be very selfish for you not to look at the issue and help move it forward.
All right. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't take like me saying privilege to be white, because when I was younger, I was okay with being black, literally. And like, that's why I had that left earring in, baby. Like, I was like MJ then. No, but I mean, it's unfortunate that, you know, people try and spin the privilege thing on other things. Like, oh, this is what privilege actually means when you get this for free or when this is happening. I'm like, bro, like, oh my God, literally, come on with that. Like, we are privileged to walk out of our house every day and not feel endangered. We are privileged to, when we get pulled over, people will be like, well, you don't know how I feel when I get pulled over. Okay, well, you don't know how a black person feels when they get pulled over. Like, literally, like, if you're fearing for your life and you're not black, okay, well, I'm sorry. Or you are white and fearing for your life, then you should be on the side of this. I mean, honestly, like, stop trying to make it about you. Stop trying to be selfish. Um, you know, there's only so much we can say and try and put out there to help and help teach or we're even learning ourselves, but to try and I don't know. I just hope that our podcast reaches some people and that it informs them, helps them out. It's tough, man.
Before we transition, I do want to also make clear I am 100% for compliance. However, you also have to look at it from a perspective, like Justin said, that when you are grown, when you grow up in an environment in which is extremely fearful of a group, i.e., the police force, your first thought is not, oh my God, I need to I'm going to comply to them. It's like, I've seen what you have done to black people my entire life, and I am scared of you.
Right.
So you're trying to take my pride away by doing whatever you can, and I don't want you to do that.
Yeah, and people don't police. All right, I think they do realize it, but police officers will abuse their power, like, literally so hard. Like, listen, I'm white, and so I don't know what people of color have had to go through, but I've seen posts on even Facebook or on social media that say, like, something like, if you don't do anything wrong, you won't be, like, police officers won't, you won't be affected or impacted by any of the police officers. They'll leave you alone. Literally false. That is so, like, I have been pulled over because of my license plate. I've done nothing wrong. Being in small Kansas, I had a Missouri tag. I got pulled over for doing a legal U-turn. The police officer pulls me over. He says, I was just making sure you're okay on that U-turn. Literally, he wanted to go through all my information, but he pulled me over for a legal U-turn and had no other. But I was like 18 years old, so I was like this, like, I would start going through this town and try and get police officers to start pulling me over. Like, I would say, like, I was pulled over one night and I was going to a party. And I had planned on just going to the party and not drinking. I had a Missouri tag, so I knew I'd be driving back through this Kansas town. And I knew if I went to the party and I had even a sip of alcohol, they would try and give me a ticket or something like that. So I made him know that I was going to a party, where abouts or whose party or whatever I was going to. And then after that party, I went driving around the town just to see if he would pull me over, just for nothing. Like, for nothing. I've had my car parked in a Kansas parking lot, and like I've had someone contact me and say, "Hey, where are you at?" Like, I'm in a baseball game right now. Here. Oh, they just read your tags. Read my tags? What do you mean? Like, my car is like this parking lot. Yeah, they just read your tags and they wanted to see what was going on. Multiple cars down there, they read one tag, that Missouri tag. Like, literally, like, don't tell me police officers are going to leave you alone. Like, if you're in small towns like this, they have nothing better to do. They want to disrupt people. Like, it's crazy. And I'm white, so like, imagine that. You know?
I was 16, maybe 7. I think it was 16. I was with another black person in St. Joe, and I was driving, and I saw a cop to my left. And anytime I see a cop, it's just kind of just, I think everybody feels that. Like,
yeah,
oh, shit.
Yeah, definitely.
But I drive past the cop. He comes behind me. I'm like, oh, shit. Because I wasn't speeding or anything, but it's just the thought. I'm like, oh, my God, okay. And I'm 16, so I'm kind of freaking out. Whatever. Whoop, flips his lights on. So I pull over, whatever. And he comes over to the passenger side door. I don't know why, but maybe because of traffic or something. Goes to the passenger side door, gets both of our IDs, gets my registration. He sits there for like 5-10 minutes, whatever, brings it back and says, you got a tail light out, but I'll let you off with a warning this time. And then just leaves. So I'm like, there is no way I have a tail light.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have known that. I get out, like I told him, I was like, I'm about to definitely check this.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. 100%. And even if I had a tail light out, he would not have known from the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, literally, yeah. So, yeah, I like well, I don't like hearing stories, but I enjoy. I don't know. I don't know, man. You know, there was one time. I'll tell you one more story, just because I don't know. It's fresh on my mind. And when you talk about St. Joe, I just remember South End. I'd coached basketball one year, so it was actually after I graduated from college. Same day of my graduation, walked, drove all the way to like St. Joe area and like South End area, and then went off to another small Kansas town, like through the Atchison area. And on our way back home, so after we got done coaching high school basketball, on our way back home, I think I was going either back up to Maryville or maybe, I don't know, maybe Waltham or something. I don't know. But they had a DUI checkpoint right there as soon as you get on the highway. So I stop at the checkpoint and roll down my window, and officer says, have you been drinking? And I was like, no. He sticks his head into my freaking car, sticks his head in there and says, I smell alcohol. I said, oh, well, I just got back from coaching a basketball game. I mean, what do you want me to do? He was like, are you sure you haven't been drinking? I was like, dude, no, I have not been drinking. He's like, oh, maybe it's just something in the car. That's literally what he said. He's like, all right, you can go. I was like, do you want me to pull over? Like, do you want to check stuff? Like, this is crazy. Like, when he said that to me, I was like, are you serious, dude? Like, you literally just straight up lied. You do not smell alcohol. There's not alcohol in here. I haven't drank any. Like, that is a lie. As soon as I got out of that, I called like dad and mom. I was like, this damn dude did this. Like, can you imagine how some people are actually like, oh, it frustrates me so much that people don't believe that they just abuse their power and that people just need to listen to them. Like, seriously, guys. Seriously. And listen, people don't know that stuff like this happens because you're white. I'm white. So I've gone through like minor things that probably most other white people have even faced in their life. Imagine if we weren't white, guys. Like, imagine, that stuff's scary. Luckily, we don't have to go through it, but we need to be there to support the black people, the people who aren't white in this country. Trust me, man. I'm scared for every black person's life when they get pulled over. Like, when I hear of like Jacoby or Javante getting pulled over, like, I'm extremely nervous. So, yeah.
I mean, it is crazy, and I think it's going to constantly be an issue in our lifetime for sure.
Yep.
With not only black community but our society as a whole with the police force. But when it comes to race, I also want to bring up the flip side. So, is it offensive when someone attacks your whiteness? Like in the NBA over the past week, Montrezl Harrell called Luka Doncic a punk ass white boy. Like, what? I mean, you played basketball with the majority black players growing up, and in Kansas City.
Yeah, when I was young.
Yeah, real young in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, surely you may have experienced it, maybe not. But how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think I probably did. Especially being like I was the minority when I was little, and that was fine. I didn't know anything different than either. So I'm 100% sure that I heard, probably stuff like that. But literally, like, it didn't bother me. Like, I probably loved it, dude. I was a cocky little kid. Like, I probably deserved some of it sometimes. Luka's probably the same way, honestly. But we were in different times then too. So I will say that to start off with. We were in different times. It didn't bother me. I really wouldn't have cared. It would have motivated me to play harder. I would have dominated like I was dominating back then. But times are different now. So no, times are way different now. So I guess if it was said to me now, like, it would probably rub me kind of wrong. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But I do actually think that it shouldn't have been said right now. Like Harrell should have held kept his mouth shut. Like I don't think that it it's right to say really, and then especially if you are a role model for others, you're putting this out there like that. It's just not a good look on yourself. So I look at this and I'm like, dude, what if Luka would have said, "You punk ass black guy"? Like, dude, what would have happened there?
Yeah, I mean,
Luka would have been destroyed, absolutely destroyed,
absolutely
right?
destroyed. So first of all, when it comes to that, if like in our game Monday,
Yeah.
if like one of them, because we faced the all black team, if one of them had said that to you, like I would have had I feel like you would have had an issue with it.
Oh yeah.
I would have had a large issue with it.
Listen, I think we would stand up and be like get all hard and stuff, but like we'd play on.
Yeah, we'd play on.
It'd be whatever. Like we probably aren't throwing fists or anything. So
yeah, you're right. But I would have definitely had an issue with it. If they would have said it to any of our teammates.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the reverse role, so it's really interesting when you talk about like reverse racism, because like if Luka says you punk ass black dude, yeah, that is absolute. He's getting slaughtered.
Right, slaughtered.
I still think that's different for sure. I think it's different in my opinion. I feel like it's different in the sense of I think attacking someone nowadays is way different because it has become so easy to attack white people, especially recently.
No,
but attacking someone's whiteness has never held nearly the same weight as attacking someone's blackness. So yeah, Luka would get slaughtered for sure, but the NBA, especially leading the social justice, they're the front leaders of all sports easily, and it's not close.
Yeah.
I think Montrezl Harrell, like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, it's not even defendable. No. Like, a lot of people will defend it, a lot of younger people especially, because they don't understand the weight that it actually carries and the negative conversations that come from that, the negative publicity. Yeah. But it's just a bad situation. I think Montrez is a complete idiot. I don't like him already.
Actually, I like his toughness. Like I
think he's a fake tough guy.
He's a fake tough guy. I thought KG was.
But I love KG though. Luka Doncic, he is the real deal though. He's the real.
Yeah. No, I just think that it's just a bad look. He shouldn't have said it. It's a bad look, man. That's really it. Shouldn't have said it. I don't know. I'm sure he apologized. I don't know.
He said they had a talk before the next game, and then he got on Twitter and said, "I didn't apologize. We just had a discussion." Blah blah blah. Like Luka said, he apologized. Like, you don't have to have pride in apology, bro.
Right? No, for sure. Like people think that, but no, man. Come on, like, just apologize. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have said it. Like. He's lucky it's not getting blown up more, honestly.
Yeah,
like
he is.
It's really died down already. Like it wasn't like
nobody's
that big
talking about it at all.
Yeah,
now.
and like I said, like it's not the worst thing, but I don't know. He should be held accountable for saying something like that. I'm not sure if he should be fined. Maybe fined. I don't think he should be suspended, but maybe fined. I think he can get fined for that.
I think he get fined.
But.
Because Luka's getting fined.
Oh, Luka's for sure getting fined for that, dude. He might get suspended a game.
Like
we talked. I mean, it's different. It is different. But I like to put change the situations like I did earlier. Like it's just we're gonna get slandered for a lot more, and that's okay. We shouldn't do that shit anyway. Like, come on. Like, it's so dumb. Like, you can talk trash, but you don't have to bring color into the game when you're talking trash. Like, just call him a bitch or something.
Yeah.
Like you punk ass bitch. Like, that's all he's got to say, and go from there. Like, I call him a white boy. We all know he's a white boy. No, actually, is he even white? People will say
he's
like,
Slovenian, but he's white, and he's white in America.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Just like Kamala Harris is black in America.
Yeah. Yep, that's true, I guess. Yep.
I don't think we're gonna have time to get to the next one.
I think we have time still. We can talk a little
You
bit.
think
Yeah, let's just I don't know. We can go over a couple questions that you had if you had any questions, and we could talk about the degradation.
Okay, so before we wrap this up, we'll touch on this last topic. So I think it comes to a point where people they don't really have so even transitioning from the Montrez to Luka part, they don't really have a respect for another person's culture.
Yep.
They get like this ownership mentality, like they should decide what is valid to be offended from, or what should be displayed from their culture, et cetera, et cetera. And it's actually asinine how someone can tell me how I should feel when I see someone who looks like me get gunned down by the police willingly.
Right.
So how about you just sit the hell down and listen to what I have to say, vice invalidating how I feel.
Right.
So when it comes to like the degradation of cultures, so the term redskin, I don't know how much this is going to carry forward, because obviously our society is still ignorant to this term a lot. But my grandma told me, she gives me stories of her growing up, because obviously, I mean, not obviously, but my white grandma, my mom's mom. So she grew up obviously in a small white town, all white family, and they used to just say the N-word like it was just regular talk. Like, because they didn't know, like, my grandma said she didn't even know that it was like a offensive or bad word.
Yeah.
She said that they would say any, mini, miny, mo, catch it by his toe. Like, I swear to you. And it's like, it's crazy to think like that's a commonplace term. I don't know. I guess I could do my research, but I don't know what flipped that switch. Yeah. But I think that switch is flipping with Redskins right now.
Right.
Because this has been such a common term where, it's used in society. Now it's like, okay, actually this is actually really offensive, so let's exclude it from any type of language in our society. And so the people that are like, oh, we need to keep the Washington Redskins, like they're emotionally attached to this sports team's... I don't know. Do you? Super bad reference.
Yeah.
But no. So it's like, why are you so attached to this name when... Okay, I'm speaking to the people listening to this. Like, I just want you to just step back. You could be riled up right now. Just step back and answer this question in your head. Can you in any way see the term Redskins, after all that you've seen online, can you see that in any way being offensive towards the Native American population? In any way at all? If your answer is yes, which it is, whether you want to say it is, in some way you can see how that is offensive. Therefore, let's remove it from society. Let's remove that word from society. Like, get it out.
Yeah. Get
it out. It does not need to, like, and people love to say, oh, we're honoring the Native Americans. Look, people, these sports names were made in the early to mid 1900s. At this time in our country's history, there was a lot of white supremacy. The schools were not desegregated. Nothing was desegregated. So why would you think that at this time the teams made these sports teams to honor a different population? That literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know when the Redskins... I'm going to just call it the R words. Like, I listen to other podcasts and I've seen other videos and whatnot. And even before all this, they wouldn't even say the name. Like, whether it's kind of like they would kind of like play it off as almost like a jokingly matter, but they would try and stop, like, not say the name. Like, the Washington R words is what they'd say. Like, because they knew that, like, it can be offensive. Like, it can be taken as, we shouldn't be saying it, like, literally. But like you said, like, we have just been in that, we've been in this world to where we didn't know any better, I think. So now that we're starting to learn a little bit, people are getting mad that names are changing, but it literally affects their lives in no way at all. But they just want to get mad at it because... I don't know, because they think that it's...
makes you soft.
yeah, or it's a democratic way or something. I don't know, dude. I honestly don't know why people are getting so mad at the name changing. Like it's not hurting them in any way at all. Like I literally would not care for if they changed every single name in every single sport. Like I don't understand why that's such a big deal to people. I really do not.
Like Savannah Savages. So they had some town hall where it exposed a lot of racism in Savannah.
Yeah.
It was actually embarrassing to watch. So my thing is, savage is not an honorary term at all.
Okay.
It's not. Matter of fact, while I speak, I'm going to look up the definition of savage. But so can you imagine if Lafayette were the Lafayette Killers and their mascot was a black guy? Like, that's in no way okay. And so here's the definition of a savage. I'll give a couple of them. So the first one, of an animal or force of nature, fierce. So it's like, okay, they're fierce, violent, and uncontrolled. That's not honorary. So the sentence, packs of savage dogs roam the streets. Second, of something bad or negative, severe. Noun, a brutal or vicious person. These are not honorary definitions.
No, not at all.
And it's okay to have the Savannah Savages change the logo.
Yeah.
It's okay to have the logo change the term
Right.
as long as you are coordinating with the Native American population.
Right, yeah. And I agree with that. And that's the same, well, it's not the same, but like the Cleveland Indians, how they had the Indian face as their logo for so long. I think that's changed now. I believe so. I think they changed it to just the C. But I mean, that's something that was changed a few years ago, and it should have been changed. And like we continue to say, we just didn't know any better. And hopefully we continue to grow and learn from this. And my only issue with all of it is kind of, I don't know, where do we stop, I guess. Like I understand what we're doing, but then maybe we start to get out of hand and maybe even the least little thing we're saying no to, like you can't paint your face red and yellow or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand us not wearing like Indian hats and stuff like that. Like that's okay. Like we shouldn't be doing that.
Even
probably
Native American.
Yeah,
so
Native.
they've embedded the word Indian in our culture.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Indian. Yes, correct. They have done that, and I need to stop saying that. But yeah, I mean I understand all that, but I mean there has to be almost a stopping point. People do look at it as America being soft. That's not the case at all. We just need to be respectful of others. And that's all we need to do, honestly. Like it's not that difficult, but I do think that at some point we need to hit a stopping point and maybe that's okay. I don't know when that is or where that's at, but
a lot of people's stopping point are the statues, the Confederate statues.
Yeah.
That's their stopping point.
Yeah,
we need to keep those because we're erasing history by removing them. That, to me, is absolutely... A statue is meant to honor something.
Yep. I agree with that.
Why do you want to honor a Confederate leader? The Confederates, I do not care what your biased opinion, literally opinion, because there are facts that the Confederates fought to maintain slavery, because if they didn't, it would cripple the economy in the South. That is why they fought the Civil War. And you can fact check me all you want.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill because...
Is that why you don't like the Confederate flag? Like what's up with the Confederate flag?
Okay, so initially I would have no idea. Yeah. But so this is the thing. The Confederate flag, I had no knowledge of the Confederate flag growing up, except I knew that it was a racist symbol.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a whim, whatever that word is, and say 95% of the population is in the exact same boat.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
So if all you know is that it's Southern heritage that represents a racist symbol, you're flying the flag because you're trying to antagonize black people.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. I don't want to hear Southern pride. Because what are you prideful of? What are you prideful of? The Confederates. They fought to maintain slavery. They lost. They were basically a separate country. So this Southern pride shit is 100% a mask for your blatant racism. If you fly a Confederate flag, you are racist in my eyes. I'm not going to say you're racist or ignorant, because your ignorance equates to the racism that you're expressing. And I would love to have a conversation if you believe otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what he said. Like, I obviously agree. Anytime I see a Confederate flag anywhere, I'm like, oh Lord, like that's what comes to my head. Like, let's try and probably stay away from that place, you know. But I mean, I feel like we have so much here we can still talk about.
One more before we go.
What
is your stopping point?
I don't know, man. That's why I was just like, that's why I said I don't know earlier. You know, it's tough. I really don't know. I just, you know, it does get a little irking even at times, where I'm like, you know, now this and now that and now this and now that. I think, but I'm still learning. So I'm still learning certain different things about different cultures that I didn't know before. So I think I don't know. I think that's gonna happen sometimes. So, but I do think that we're reevaluating everything right now. Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I do think that it's way overboard. It's getting out of hand, but I don't think that it's gotten way out of hand yet. I think we're on the fringe there, though, of that happening. I just think that people need to stop being all in their feelings about, you know, everything happening. Just listen. A logo change isn't going to hurt you in any way at all. Let it happen. Why do we have to complain about everything that you think shouldn't be happening, that is actually wrong? Everything you think is wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But listen, I don't mind having conversations about it with people at all. That's fine. But in the end, if it's really not going to affect you, people usually, a lot of you people don't care about things that don't affect you anyway. I don't know why you're caring about this. So, it's interesting, man. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where we stop. I'm really just ready for this COVID stuff to get over, and maybe things will clear up a little bit just all around. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at though with everything. We'll just see. Probably the next 6 months, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more on what's happening.
I think cancel culture is nuts.
Cancel culture is crazy.
I kind of like it.
I like cancel.
I want to talk about it in the next episode.
Okay, yeah. Be ready for the next episode then. Cancel culture. I have a lot to say about cancel. I like cancel culture.
I think it can get nuts as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely nuts, but I think it's funny. I think a lot of it's funny.
It is hilarious.
It's because I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and they're like, "Oh, the cancel culture is coming for you." I kind of, but yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate you guys listening to another episode of It's Not Black and White with Justin and Jacoby. Sure. We're looking forward to having a guest appearance from a police officer to get their perspective and how he feels like we can move forward and kind of progress the relations between the civilian population and the police force. With that being said, I think that this wraps up episode 3. Yep. Justin, you got anything else?
No. I know we have a lot. We could have talked forever about everything going on tonight, but maybe we'll mention things in the future as well. I know we have a lot of questions that have come in as well, and we plan on doing an episode where we answer a lot of those questions, or we comment on things that we've heard and whatnot. Maybe we'll even go live. Maybe we'll go live. I think that'd be cool, honestly, but we'll see.
I do want to say one more thing, actually. Shout out Run Light, the company, the brand. I'm rocking it. Shout out my boy Mario. So, you know, he's got a nice clothing brand in St. Joe. So check him out.
For sure.
But yeah, that wraps it up.